Why? Finally, a game that tackles the most profound and complex philosophical question of all times. Why did the chicken cross the road? I don't know, it's such a complicated and deep problem that actually the game doesn't really solve it, but it shows you how chickens are trying to cross the road, and maybe that will help you to figure out the solution to this very complex problem. Why is a children's game or family game published by Victory Point Games? I have the box version, and the game comes with two boards. One is a mounted board that you assemble like a puzzle, as you can see here, and the other version is a cardboard version that comes in a single piece. In this game, players play the role of chickens that are trying to cross the road to go from here to here without being squished by cars and trucks that are crossing the road. Chickens are represented by counters, such as these ones. You place the chickens on the start line at the beginning of the game. The exact position within the start area depends on the number of players. And you can play this game in a variety of ways. You can play it solo, in which you're controlling a team of chickens. You can play it competitively, in which each player controls one or more chickens, and then you're trying to get them across the road more effectively than other players are. You can also play cooperatively, like I played with my daughter. We simply control together a team of chickens, and we see how many we can get across. We have in this game a deck of cards. You shuffle them together at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of each turn, a card is drawn. And as you can see, there are cars and trucks on the board. 4 of them are selected randomly from the card pool at the beginning of the game, and they're placed randomly. At the beginning of each turn, you look at the card that was just drawn, and the number of icons for each type of vehicle tells you the number of spaces by which the vehicle moves. With this card, each car moves by 2 spaces, each truck by 1. Oh, well, look at that. This is a very common card. It happens very often, but as you can see, there are also other possible combinations. This is a tricky one. Things are going fast on the board. So, you draw the card, you look at the icons, and then you will move the vehicles accordingly. 2 for each car, 1 for each truck. You move the cars and the trucks 1 lane at a time. They move from the left side of the board to the right side. Once they get here, they simply exit the board. However, after the cars and the trucks moved, new vehicles will enter the board. So you look at the second section of the card that was drawn, and you look at the dice icons. The numbers on them don't matter, just the number of dice matter. For each icon you roll a die, and the result tells you the lane in which the new randomly drawn vehicle will enter the board. We have 4, and so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is. Suppose that then we roll a 6, then we place a new vehicle there. Then finally it is time for the players to act. Now if you're playing the game solo, the bottom part of the card that was drawn, there's a number of chicken moves that your team has. And different cards will give you very different amounts of chicken moves, and you can distribute these among your brave chickens. If you are playing competitively or with other players anyways, then you simply ignore this part of the card, and each chicken gets a move each turn. For a move, a chicken can move by 1 space forward or 1 space backward, or 1 or 2 spaces laterally. Just like this. It's as simple as that. After the chickens move, guess what happens? You draw a new card, you move all of the vehicles that are on the board. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. You roll to add new vehicles. and the chickens move. You repeat the procedure until, well, the game is over, and that will depend on the way in which you're playing the game. But of course, pretty much the game will end when all the chickens have either crossed the road or they have been turned into jelly by the cars and or trucks. There is a more a friendlier version of this, which is the chickens that are hit by the cars or trucks are not removed from the game. They are rubber chickens, it is discovered, and they bounce back to the initial lane. Pretty simple game, as you can see, as you can expect from a game that is suitable for children. My daughter really enjoys it, and actually I enjoy playing this game with her. At the beginning, the upkeeping phases, move the cars, roll dice, and new cars, was a little confusing for her, but I've helped her with that. Now that has become much easier and faster. This is also important because it took us so long to take care of this part of the card, and then when it came to move the chickens, it felt a little anticlimactic. Ding, done. Done. If you are able to speed up the upkeeping part a little bit, then the pace of the game is much better. The game becomes exciting and pretty fun. My daughter at the beginning, since she's so young, was a little confused, so when trying to decide her next move, she was simply trying to move where there isn't a car or a truck. She had neglected the fact that, of course, the cars and trucks are going to move next time. So it may be a good idea if you're moving behind a car or a truck, or simply moving exactly in front of a car or a truck. Could be a good idea because the car or truck will move before you get to move again. That was a little tricky, but she figured it out, well, with some help, and now she's able to come up with some basic strategy to commit their chickens to courses of actions that are not entirely suicidal. Not always the best one available, but I think she's doing pretty good. And it's a game that is really fun. It's also really funny. The theme is funny. The art is pretty ridiculous and just very entertaining. And of course, given the theme, it is also up to you, the parent, to make it as funny as you can, which is what we do. We laugh about it so that we take away the potential tragedy of the chickens being run over by the cars. We make sound effects about regarding the driving cars and the screeching halts, which don't really exist. They don't really take place in the game. We just do it. It's more fun that way. Even when a chicken is squished, there are some funny sound effects that can be added to the soundtrack of the game. It's very simple, it's very linear, my daughter loves it. Mechanically, I can't say that is the thing that excites her the most. Thematically though, this is a very cool implementation of this thing. The theme, if you are as old as I am, probably this immediately will look to you like Frogger, the board game. That's pretty much what it is. But Frogger was a fun game in the 80s, and this board game is a fun game still. My daughter enjoys it, and among all the games that she enjoys, this is one that I always play gladly, because I know that we may not be able to go to get all the way to the end of a game if we have the full team and the chickens start being bounced back, and then maybe it may take a little long, because again, we are playing cooperatively, so we want to make sure that we do well, and in some cases we just want to make sure that all the chickens make it to the end. That's how nice we are. But sometimes in that fashion it takes a little long. But what matters is that as the game progresses, as the quote-unquote story is shaped, funny things happen, funny moments happen, we laugh a lot, we chat, we just enjoy the gentle madness behind the idea. So why? Definitely a game that I would recommend to families. With a 4-year-old, as I played, the child needs a little bit of help at the beginning and is not the best strategy even after the basic mechanics and strategies have been absorbed. If you're playing with a 6, 7 or 8-year-old, then I think that actually you can play it quote-unquote for real. I think that the child will not have any problem grasping the main ideas behind the design. Some children's games also double as games for adults. I don't know that this one would do very well in that department, even if you're just thinking of it as a light diversion, as a light filler. There isn't really much for an adult, unless again you really want to just have a laugh at the funny art, at the funny story, and at the funny theme. Why? By Victory Point Games. I enjoyed playing it, and so has my daughter so far.